Hey, I'm Ethan.
Hey, I'm Mike.
I watched the first half of Leprechaun 3.
I watched the second half of Leprechaun 3.
And this is the other half.
Watch till you can't. Well,
Welcome to Vegas, baby! What's better than an old leprechaun in Vegas? You know, gotta get lucky. Leprechaun's
This
got
is
luck.
such a good idea for a movie.
It is.
Like,
what a great place. The perfect place. Like LA, whatever. The people of Hollywood,
Whatever,
But
yeah.
Vegas, there's a moment where our friend, the little leprechaun, goes in front of the gold nugget and says, I'd like me one of those.
Is there a point where he's like in front of like a slot machine and he pulls the slot and all the gold falls on him?
No. But he finds Elvis.
Oh, does he?
He finds Elvis.
And he goes, Lord have mercy.
He does do an Elvis impression.
The
leprechaun
does an Elvis impression?
Yes, he does.
I feel like at this point, Warwick Davis is absolutely taking advantage of the fact that they can't get anybody else to play this part, you know?
Well, the thing is from what I've heard is that this is Warwick Davis's favorite one.
Honestly, I think it might be mine.
Really? It's
I really enjoy this one a lot.
This one was a lot of fun.
This was a lot of fun. Definitely better than the second one, I'll say. Maybe the first one's probably still like top tier, but this is definitely
the first
better
one's
than
probably
the
like
second
knew what it was doing. But
Yeah.
this one is like they're getting into the hokiness. They're having fun.
one. Yeah.
They're having a good time.
This is the way to write a Leprechaun movie. It's like,
Yeah.
where would be the funniest place for Leprechaun to show up and then just like plot his way into
Yeah.
it, you know? It's like,
I love Vegas. Oh, wow. I'm so glad he's here.
But by the way, everyone, as you all know, the Leprechaun is going to appear.
You're not going to get rid of me, huh?
No,
You thought?
Of course not. No, of course you're going to be in every single Leprechaun
Every single
episode.
one I'm going to be here as long as you keep watching. I mean, I don't know. After this next set, you may stop watching.
We'll see.
Wow, what a really good rhyme there, Mr. Leprechaun. You're really working
You
on
just
that one.
said watch it twice. Very,
Exactly. Like,
very
well, you
good
know, I'm a
rhyme.
little bit rusty. I've been out, I've been out in seclusion. You know, COVID. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, did
It
you
keeps
get,
us all in isolation. But I with me gold, I wasn't too bad. But
I was going to ask, did you get COVID, Leprechaun?
absolutely, twice.
You do feel like somebody who would wear a mask.
Oh no,
Never,
no!
yeah.
I can't smell me gold with a mask on. I want to smell me gold.
That's right. That makes
I mean,
sense. That makes
is it
sense.
really that worth it to smell your gold? Oh, you know it is.
Apparently, you're all about eating the gold, too.
I love tasting it.
Yeah, that's
I
what
love
I
it.
hear.
You know what gives me powders? Okay, that's spoilers, all right.
I was going to say.
There's a part where there's literally an encyclopedia, like a video encyclopedia that they play.
Yes. I
so-
wrote down there was a Flash cartoon explaining
Yes.
how leprechauns work.
Yes, which
yeah.
made me think that like those old encyclopedia, what are they called? Digital encyclopedias? I felt like there was a specific name for
Encarta?
it. Encarta. What do you call Encartas? But I think it's a brand name. It's like
That's
saying
I know what
Kleenex.
you're talking about, though.
But
yeah.
anyway, those were basically like Flash cartoons.
Some of
that
them
pretty
were,
much
yeah.
set up
Yeah.
to explain complex things such as the lore of leprechauns, I guess.
Not to get ahead of the plot, but like, why would the guy running a pawn shop have that, you know?
I mean, people used to just have those encyclopedia things, you know?
Yeah, I guess. But
Like if you're thinking about like lore or something, you know, and you get some like weird, you know, someone's trying to pawn something off and maybe
and
has
you
like
want
a
to
weird
learn
demon on it
how
or
to
something.
sell it.
Exactly. You want to
Alright.
like give it some
And if there's one
pizzazz.
thing we know about pawn shops in Vegas, they are respectable and they
Oh,
want
yeah.
to know everything about the product they're about to
Chumley
sell.
would never fuck this up. Come on now.
I've actually never seen Pawn Stars, so
Oh,
I don't
really?
know. I don't know what that shit is
That's
like.
one
at
of the
all.
few. For some reason, one of the few like antenna channels we get plays Pawn Stars like all the time. So sometimes I just kick it on because it's just there.
Do you enjoy it?
It's fun.
Yeah?
It's like basically like Antiques Roadshow for bros.
Oh, okay.
In some ways.
Antiques Broad Show.
Antiques Roadshow. Yeah. Well, like Antiques Roadshow, you're like, I'm gonna kind of like fall asleep during this. But
They're
this is,
boring old
yeah,
people
this
who
one's-
found shit in their basement.
and this is just some dudes who are like, whoa, this is cool ass motorcycle, bro. It's sick. Oh man.
Who
Well-
owned it?
Well, check out this thing
This
for
was
World War
this
II.
was Hitler's motorcycle.
Oh, cool. I guess. Oh, you think I could sell these swastikas on here?
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
bro.
In
That's gonna
Vegas?
cost you. That's gonna get you way more money.
I don't like me censorship. Okay, shut up. We didn't ask you.
We did ask you, okay, Mr. Leprechaun.
Yeah, I could say anything in this. In fact, in this, I say some racially and maybe insensitive things you can't say nowadays.
I will say a swastika kind of does look like a four-leaf clover if you look at it. And,
Well, it used to mean good luck in Germany before you had to hit. Okay, come on. We don't need a history lesson.
We don't
like
need a
that.
history lesson
Things
on
have
what
changed.
that
Your
symbol
four-leaf
is,
clover, you know, I mean, you hate four-leaf clovers. I hate four-leaf clovers.
well,
you know this-
sometimes they'll kill you. Sometimes they're not anything to you at all.
Sometimes they're just a vibe.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
you know, it depends. I mean, a picture of a four-leaf clover, right,
So,
will not upset me. but
Are you the same leprechaun in every single
No,
movie? Right? It's
I'm
all
not.
different leprechauns.
no.
Right.
All different leprechauns. But me, myself, I'm a combination of all of them. For the sake of the podcast.
Of course.
Otherwise, we wouldn't even be doing this.
No,
Like,
of
what
course
is-
not.
What is the point?
But that is what I'm starting to learn is like these are all different
Yeah.
leprechauns. They
Yeah,
all
they
have
all
different rules,
They all have
different ways
goals.
of killing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all
yeah.
vaguely like, which is kind of fun. I like that concept.
I kind of like it too.
Where-
It's better than like when we watched all the Hellraiser movies and we try to keep like the rules of like what the Cenobites meant.
And it always changed. And It was
Yeah.
like, well, it's always fucking the same guy. You
Right,
know?
exactly.
And it's obvious because there's literally
There's only
we call
one
it
pinhead.
bloodline.
Yeah, exactly.
Bloodline. So it's weird when they kind of like, unless it's a reboot, then it's like go for it. But
Right.
like when they're trying to keep it all as like one world, it's like, come on, man, stick to your lore.
Yeah.
But Leprechaun, there's a new one shows up. It's like, it's fun. It's like having like, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of what is that? Predator. Like Predators,
Oh,
kind of.
yeah,
Where like
yeah.
it's just one of them, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Most
yeah.
of the time,
Right.
And I guess the thing that kind of is boring about Predator, not boring, but like the limitation of it is it's like the Predator's always the same. You know, always has the same thing,
guy.
but like this is like, oh no, this Leprechaun's changing. You do kind of whatever he wants.
Kind of reminds me of like old like Looney Tunes where like it just be like, oh, like this time, you know, Bugs is here and now this time Bugs is here. Like, you know, or like at one point like Elmer Fudd is a hunter and now Elmer Fudd is like digging for gold. You know, there's not really like a through logic. It's just like he's wherever he needs to be for the plot to work.
And you know how he's
essentially.
basically gonna act.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
I love it. I love this idea of just like, yeah, like this really feels like where is the best place for a Leprechaun to like cause some havoc?
Las Vegas,
Las
baby.
Vegas,
People are
Nevada,
greedy.
baby.
You could just run around and people are like, yeah, that's something I'd see in Vegas. You know?
Nobody would. If I was in Vegas and I saw like a little person running around in a leprechaun suit, I'd be like, obviously.
Well, with horrifying teeth and like, you know, like.
Oh, okay. I will say the horrifying teeth is becoming way more cheap now. It's literally
Yes.
just Warwick Davis's teeth, and they've like painted it black to
Yeah,
look pointy. He
yeah.
doesn't want to wear the fake teeth anymore, and honestly, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause at this point, all of these were released on VHS, so like nobody thought the quality
It's
was
all
going to be
direct
worthy.
to video. So
Yeah,
they're like,
exactly.
who cares? This is going to be seen on like a shitty TV somewhere.
Yeah,
No
this
one's
is
ever-
mostly going to be seen for like teenage boys to jerk off and whatever, you know, like
Why
at
would
this
you-
point.
Who's jerking off to? Who's jerking off to me?
Nobody's jerking off to you, Mr. Leprechaun, but
Oh.
I will say the one thing you're really
I'm
good
really
at.
good at a money shot. Okay, that's too
All
much.
right, enough of you, Mr. Leprechaun. No, like because the one thing the Leprechaun does almost in every single movie at this point is like create an image of a hot woman to distract a guy in order to kill
Yes,
him.
does that every time.
Does he do that in your half of the movie? He doesn't in my half of the movie.
No. He doesn't do
Okay.
my half of the movie, I
Okay.
don't
But
think.
he just keeps doing this like it's almost like Bugs dressing up like a lady.
Yes.
But instead of that, it's like he like transmogrifies a hot woman in front of
Yes.
a desperate horny dude in order to murder him.
It works every time. You know?
And honestly, it does work every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably would do that way in real life too, honestly. if you didn't
Maybe.
know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So tell me a bit about how the movie begins.
So the movie starts.
How
with-
does the leprechaun arrive in Vegas?
So the leprechaun arrives in Vegas because a homeless dude goes to, or let me not assume. I apologize. Some dude
Who is unhoused?
who looks down on his luck.
Yeah.
Goes to a pawn shop and he's like, I need money to buy gas. You want to buy this weird fucking statue of this leprechaun? And the pawn shop owner's like, okay. By the way, this guy's like an eye patch and he has like he's Irish, of course.
Of course he's
He has
Irish.
an eye patch and he has
Doesn't
no
seem
arm.
Too lucky.
Kind of reminded me though of Hellraiser. I remember like a homeless person would always get the
Oh
box.
yeah.
you
He's
know,
always the person
box
that
for
brings the
people.
box. Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, so it's obviously a leprechaun. We fucking know it. We all know.
We
who it
all
is.
know. Yeah.
He's like, I'll give you $20 for that, and he's like, all right, whatever. So he takes $20 and leaves. Says, don't touch that necklace though. And so the pawn shop owner's like, okay.
Why?
Well, I mean, I don't know. What do you think would happen if you touched the necklace? Take a wild guess.
The leprechaun will awaken. I know.
Did you write this movie? Did you write this movie?
I'm just guessing.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, anyway, he's got they of course Grout goes and touches the necklace and he's like, oh,
course.
nothing happens. And he takes it off and starts inspecting it, see if it's worth anything. Of
I like
course,
the Irish guy. Wait.
nothing.
Is the homeless guy Irish or is
the
the?
homeless guy is Irish.
Oh, okay.
The pawn shop guy is an Indian dude,
Oh, okay.
which will play into a joke later.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be it's really funny.
I'm sure it's gonna be great.
So then he looks at it, checks it, and then he looks back where the leprechaun statue is, and the statue's gone, but he doesn't care. There's a big pot of gold there instead.
That's way better
So
than
he's
a
like,
statue.
oh, cool, awesome. So the pawn shop guy like takes the gold, and the leprechaun jumps on him and bites his ear and says, oh, I like Indian food. It's so spicy.
Oh no! And so it begins.
Honestly, though, that's probably the worst thing in this movie.
That's
at least
not
if
that
I have,
bad.
which
Yeah.
wasn't that bad. I was
Yeah,
just like,
I thought he
okay.
was gonna do like an Apu accent
Oh, no,
or something. Yeah,
no.
okay, that's
He's just,
good.
like literally eating a person, be like, wow, tasty. Anyway, and the guy's like, what the hell are you? And he's like, I'm a leprechaun, me lad, and ye be stealing me gold. I'm like, oh, we're back at it. The first like 2 minutes of this movie.
Yep, here we go.
Anyway, he like pulls the blonde guy's shoe off and is like, nice shoes, and he bites his big toe off.
Why do you do that?
I don't know. I feel like these leprechauns are more violent. You know, the first was just a little scamp.
Right.
This one is more of like evil. Like,
He's trying to kill.
He's
out for blood.
He's out for blood. He likes hurting.
Yeah.
And he then just says, "I think I'll whack you till you're dead." But this guy, he has the medal still, and he points the medal at him. He's like, leave it. And he takes the leprechaun, like is scared of the medal, runs off with the gold.
Right.
And and that's that. And then, like, okay, leprechaun like scampered off somewhere. Who knows where he went? But
in Vegas, he's probably at a
piece of
strip
gold.
club or something.
Exactly. He's trying to get lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, this guy is driving a car. Scott is.
I called him Twink.
Yeah, that's fair.
I didn't know his name for the longest time.
He's the most bewildered looking dude I've ever seen. He always looks lost everywhere he's going.
Yeah.
And I guess he's trying to show that he's like not from Vegas.
He's
so
wide-eyed,
like,
right?
So he's looking around being like, wow, Vegas is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And some lady named Tammy is there. And she is...
Who is she?
Putting her... you'll learn a bit.
Sorry.
She'll explain herself to Scott. But she's doing the old thumbs up because her car's got trouble. And he's so like... distracted by like all of the lights and sounds of Vegas that he almost runs into her. But
oh my god,
she's like, "Hey, you fucking almost missed me, or you almost hit me too at the same time. Can you look in my car and like see if there's anything wrong?" And he looks, and he's like, "Oh, your engine's been stolen." I'm like, "What is that?"
How did it get stolen?
It was a joke.
Oh,
but I didn't really get it because I was like,
it's
I'm an
not a funny
audience. I didn't
joke.
understand if there was. Maybe it did get stolen.
Yeah, who knows? In this kind of movie,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he was telling the truth. Doesn't matter.
yeah.
But then she's like, no, I mean, obviously not. He's like, well, have you ever like blown a rod before? And she's like, no, what? Anyway, can you take me to work? And I'm just like, the humor in this movie, like, I feel like most of the time it works, but then every so often they stop to like make a like innuendo or something.
Yeah.
And it just kind of feels awkward.
This joke doesn't work because I'm pretty sure Scott's supposed to be like an innocent, right? Like he wouldn't say you ever blow a rod before.
Yeah, I'm
like,
trying to make if I like accidentally gave it to her line, but no, I'm pretty sure he said that.
Like he would ask her like, "Have you ever blown a rod before?"
Yeah.
And then she would go like that doesn't make like why he wouldn't make that joke.
Well,
and,
he might have not been a joke.
Oh, you think he was
He might just
genuinely
be
asking
honestly
if she'd blown a
asking that.
rod?
Yeah.
Because the joke here is that I think she's supposed to be like she's like a showgirl, right?
She is actually, so they start driving. She's going to work. She works at the is it Lucky? It's not Lucky Strike. Do you know what the name of the casino is?
Oh no, I didn't write it down.
God, it had a
Is it like a
rim.
four-leaf clover? It's something based off.
Oh my
of
God, I
like,
can't believe we forgot to write down the fucking name of it. Yeah, it's obviously an Irish casino.
I'll look it up.
Anyway.
It's a casino that does not exist.
No, it's
on
a fake. It's
yeah,
fake one.
exactly.
Most of this was there was shot of this one day in Vegas. The rest of it was shot in LA.
It is funny to see old-looking like casinos.
It is kind of
like you see the old MGM shit too.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of crazy how much like that city changes. You know, in such a
Yeah.
short amount of time.
yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
And how it all sometimes stays the same
It
as
all
well.
stays
Because
the
they
same.
drove by the what was it called? The Circus at one point. I'm like, I didn't look any different.
yeah, they didn't put any more money into that. That
Yeah,
stayed the
exactly.
same since the 90s.
Lucky Shamrock.
Lucky Shamrock.
Yeah.
So she works there, and she is a magician. She's a magician, but she works for this asshole named Fazio, the Great Fazio.
Yeah.
And she's just an assistant for now, but she wants to be a real magician. At
So
some
she's
point.
not a magician, but she wants to be a magician.
Yeah. She claims she's a magician.
Got
but
it.
right now she's just
She
an
knows
assistant.
magic.
She's doing the internship shit.
yeah.
She should know magic. So anyway, but yeah, so she's just like, take me there, and he's like, oh, that's cool. That sounds like a really cool time. Well, I'm on my way to LA. My parents gave me some money, and I'm going to school for my first year of college in LA, but I wanted to stop by Vegas because it seemed cool. And she's like, you better leave because like Vegas has a way of latching on to a person, and you want to go but you can't. And
What does that mean?
I mean, Scott's gonna fuck up at some point. Anyway, we got our pawn shop. Cut back to our pawn shop guy, and he's
Right.
going on the electronic encyclopedia we mentioned before. And
Right.
he has, I wish I could get a copy of this for real because it was literally just like a whole bunch of like cryptids on like a little encyclopedia thing.
That would be such a good birthday present for me.
No. I have to find you an old Windows computer to run it though.
Yeah, that's true.
I still have that prop. They actually coded it.
Did they
And were-
really? Because
they-
it is on the screen.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
I feel like that's where most of the budget had to have gone, right?
Absolutely.
Not
Not my teeth.
Not your makeup. I was
Not my
gonna say,
makeup. No. We had quite a budget on that. Well, that's a fun little fact. Thanks for putting that out there. So yeah, he is watching this video, and then the leprechaun's in the other room counting his gold, and he's 1 shilling short. Of course,
Always
he's always
1
1
shilling short.
And guess who has it? The
pawn
shop
shop
owner,
guy,
right,
yeah.
does. And so he's like, "Don't worry, I'll store this in some random safe." First off, I didn't know this was the same room. Like this was another part of the pawn
It's
shop.
the back area.
It's the
right?
back area.
Yeah.
I thought he like ran way off. Like I thought he was like in a complete,
does
like,
look
it felt
like
a
a
warehouse.
storage
It was
unit
like a
or
huge
something.
warehouse.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
tiny
yeah.
pawn shop.
Like in the back, you would see like the Ark of the Covenant or
yes,
something.
it
Yeah.
feels like that big. It's like the
Yeah.
scale seems just off.
Right. It's almost like those are 2 separate sets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this time it didn't work seamlessly.
Yeah.
So anyway, Scott is okay. I already went that stuff. Okay, so the shop owner, here's Leprechaun because the Leprechaun started to come back, and he's like, "I'm gonna find your whole family, Leprechaun," because the encyclopedia says like he's getting cocky because the encyclopedia says if you have a shilling in your possession, you can have anything you want in the whole world. So he's like, I got everything.
See, there we go. We already are starting to gain new information
Exactly.
about the gold from the Leprechaun.
It's true.
Yeah.
But the Leprechaun's being all sneaky and stuff.
Right.
So he's like trying to hide, and the Leprechaun does like an illusion trick to the shopkeeper where he thinks he's one spot, and so the shopkeeper's gonna like shoot him, but then he doesn't. But then he gets shot by like a Cupid statue instead. So now the Leprechaun can like control like arrows shooting out of statues.
Right.
It's very weird. And then the Leprechaun appears in front of him while he's injured. He's like, "Ah!" And Leprechaun says, "If you're gonna linger, I'm gonna give you the finger," and then he stabs his finger into his like
eye,
into the gun,
Oh, okay.
into the gun, and it shoots the gun, and the gun explodes. I'm like, man, you got some real nasty nails there, dude. But then the shopkeeper slams the medallion into his mouth, and he's like, "Oh!" And he does not like that at all. Of
course
and
not.
so the Leprechaun runs away and says, "I want me shilling." And he says, "I want me shilling" in like the blurriest shot I've ever seen in a movie. Like it was so blurry, the camera did not even like bother focusing.
And they were just like, let's keep
They're
going.
like, "That's fine." They probably couldn't see on their little CRT TV. or
Yeah,
whatever
that's
they're-
probably true. They didn't know until they put it in the editing
Yeah.
bed. They're like, well, what are we going to do now? We're not going to get Warwick Davis in a makeup.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for this
Want to put it
shot.
back in there? No,
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah.
So then let's see. So Scott drops her off at the casino and is like, "Hey, can you sneak me into the casino? I never like been in one." She's like,
Sneak you in a casino.
"Well, he's not 21 yet.
Oh, he's not?
No, I think he's like 20 or 19 or something. He's in early college, right?"
Okay.
And he's like, "Please, I'm only gonna be here for a bit." And she's like, "Oh, fine, because you gave me a ride. Sneak in, but you promise not to gamble." And he's like, all right. And so he's like, "I'm gonna leave you here now." And he's like, "Hey, so like, maybe I can like come see your show, and then we can like get dinner afterwards." And she's like,
Oh.
"I don't know, maybe, sure, whatever, dude."
I kind of like Tammy as a
Tammy
character.
she's my favorite character in this.
She's great.
She's cool.
She's
She
great.
knows what she wants. She has a dream.
She's going
great.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott is a great goofball, by the way. I love how dumb Scott is
Yeah.
because he sucks, but in a fun way.
Yeah.
like,
Well,
obvi-
he's the wide-eyed innocent.
Yeah.
He's like the main guy in Hades Town, you know?
Yes, I was gonna say the main lady in Showgirls.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Showgirls Know Me.
Nomi?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird when he starts eating cat food.
Yeah, that's right. That does the hand thing in
hand
front of her
thing,
face. Yeah.
So let's see. Man, this casino's bumping though. They've got like a bunch of people are here. There's a priest named Father Bob. Does he ever come to play later?
No.
Man, they
never
really
seen
made a
Father
big deal
Bob.
about Father Bob with these 2 hot ladies next to him. And he's like, "Blow on the dice, ladies," and then they like
never
roll.
see Father Bob
What
in
the
my half
fuck?
of the movie.
Okay, well, Father Bob I thought was gonna have something come back
No.
because he's at the craps table.
No.
Anyway,
I know Loretta.
you know Loretta. Speaking of which, we're introduced to the great Fazio and Loretta, and they're all kind of just talking shit to each other. Loretta's an employee there. Fazio obviously is the main headliner magician there,
Right.
And Loretta's like, "Hey, why do you always like hire Tammy? She's late right now. Like she's not even here."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, you know, she can fill out a costume. And, Loretta's like, I could do that. And he's like, no,
you have a terrible body.
No,
Loretta.
you're old. You're like 20 years older than her, so you're useless. Is basically what he says.
Right.
So Tammy arrives, and I'm like, oh, you make her wear that? Okay, yeah, I can see why she kind of doesn't want to be here anymore.
She wears that basically the whole movie too. It's very upsetting.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then he's also is like, call me the Great One. Don't call me like
Fazio. Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
He's got a real like Jafar vibe.
Yeah, he's got a bit, but like none of the riz.
None of the charm of Jafar. Yeah.
I just dated the podcast with that reference. Anyway,
we're dating the podcast by talking about Leprechaun series.
What do you mean? This is timeless series. Timeless,
timeless entertainment.
Fucking think this is going to be any less timely in 10 years from now?
I am timeless. I never age.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, I know you are that, but you got to talk to Mike, who thinks this is going to age this.
I'm sorry, but I feel like in 20 years people are not going to know what the Leprechaun movies are. I'm sorry to tell you.
I feel like they might. How dare you, Mike?
I'm on TikTok. That's where I get me gold.
Oh. I don't even want to know what his TikTok's like.
Yeah, you get out of here. It's all feet pics.
Oh my God. Yeah, he never takes off his shoes.
He never does. I wonder how gross his feet must look.
They look pretty nasty.
They're just pointy like my feet. My shoes, I mean. I just have one.
Okay, Leprechaun, you been getting into Mike's whiskey?
No, never. I'm sober.
Oh my God,
I
Mike,
don't drink anymore.
Look what he's done to your whiskey, dude.
Oh no, he's put his dick in it.
A little bit of extra spice for you, Michael.
Get it out of there.
A little bit of Irish good luck. Fucking shit, man. I didn't know you needed to lock your liquor cabinet.
Apparently I do, but yeah, he's sticking his dick in all my
I guess we don't invite him over.
We don't. He breaks it. We try to keep him out.
But
you can't keep me out. I'm a leprechaun. Hi-ty-ty-ty. I'm out of here.
All right, well, he's gone.
I'll be back in the corner.
Okay, good. Go back
Check it off furiously.
Into the whiskey?
Into the whiskey. He's fucking into the whiskey. Yeah. Oh.
Well, I mean, that bottle opening is the perfect size.
It's a scotch now. Wait, not a scotch. What am I saying? It's an Irish whiskey.
It's definitely an Irish whiskey.
That's what I call an Irish car bomb.
Oh, no. Like, you can't say it anymore.
I saw Belfast. I can say it.
What movie was inaccurate?
Oh, no. I'm in trouble.
Oh, no.
Anyway, tell me more about the...
Mike's hoping this is definitely no one's going to hear this episode because it'll be too dated, so no one will go back. It won't be relevant anymore. Like, these like the Irish people won't get it. You don't think the Irish people, if they ever like come into our podcast, will be like, all right, let's see what these folkers think of the Irish.
I think they're going to be turned off by the fact that we're talking about the Leprechaun movies in March. That in and of itself is like insulting enough.
I guess.
Yeah.
Look, man, they don't know marketing.
They don't. They only know two things: drinking and fighting.
Oh no.
They always go together.
Oh no. The Leprechaun's too busy coming right now, so
He's coming.
He can't have a rebuttal right now.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
So then, what the fuck was I?
I don't know.
Oh, he wants to do a fucking crazy trick where she gets in a box and he has like a flamethrower and he accidentally lights the flamethrower, like uses the flamethrower, lights on a
what
table
an incredible trick. How does that even work, right?
It's just like, you burn the box down, she appears somewhere else.
Right.
And he's like, I don't want to do that. And so we got this boss that comes in. I can't remember his name. Mitch.
I wrote it down because he's very important in my half of the movie.
Yeah, he definitely seems like the real greedy one.
Yeah,
anyway,
he's a bad guy.
He's like, well, at first he seems like an okay guy because he's like, hey, why are you trying to hurt my future headliner? I really like her. She's good. She's gonna like take over. And I'm like, why doesn't she just take over now if you don't like this guy?
Yeah,
like
he
what's
seems
the reason?
like a bad dude.
Doesn't give a reason for it, so whatever.
Oh, there's a reason.
Oh, yeah, all right. I guess I think I do kind of know what the reason is, but let's see.
He's a scumball.
Yeah, so let's see. The boss is like fucking. It makes it almost sound like she needs to start doing the show because he's like, go play some cards or whatever. And then he goes, hey, Tammy, you always play hard they get, but yeah, I know you'll come around. She's like, haha, yeah, okay, whatever.
Interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go. We're starting to understand why Mitch is a bad guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at first I was like, oh man, he's actually like stand up for that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's for gross purposes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Scott's walking around the casino, and it turns out he has a check for $23,000 for college from mom and dad.
That's so much.
And so he's like, man, I really want to cash this. And so he goes up to Mitch, of course. And Mitch is like, how you fucking, oh, you're old enough to be in here, kid? He was like, I want to cash this. Can you cash checks? And he's like, looks at the check and he's like, oh yeah, you're old enough to be in here. Come on over here. And the cashier pulls out, which I didn't know you could just cash checks at casinos. I didn't know that was a thing you could do.
I mean, I think you can if you have a really big amount of money.
Yeah, and they're like,
you know?
oh, you can fucking spend that here.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You can do
$23,000.
fucking anything if you have a lot of money in a casino.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mitch is then confronted by two guys. One of them's named Artie or something.
Two guys. Okay, I wrote them down. I didn't know their names, so I called them Ace Ventura and Alan Rickman.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, because one guy's wearing like a Hawaiian shirt.
He's big. He's a muscle.
And the other guy looks like Alan Rickman.
Yeah, that's fair. Alan Rickman is Art.
Yeah.
And Mitch is like, what do you want in here? And he's like, I want brown hair. He's bald. And or balding.
Balding.
And says,
he's got white hair, yeah.
It says like health insurance for all Americans. And I want the Mets to get their shit together. And I'm like, oh, this
guy's pretty cool.
Yeah,
actually.
Seems okay.
Yeah, I like this guy.
And he's like, no, I want my money is what I want. Well, the bodyguard is dumb. And he's just like, I just want to help you get your money. And Mitch is like, don't worry, I'll get it. Don't worry, I'll get it. And then Scott goes to the roulette table that Loretta is running. Loretta went back to work. She runs the roulette table. Also, Scott, rookie move, going right to the roulette table.
Yeah.
What are you fucking doing?
Well, he is a rookie.
Those have the
He doesn't
worst
know anything.
odds. You're right.
He doesn't know anything.
You're right.
Ethan's over here. He's a gamer, so he knows.
Like that.
Where's the first place to go?
The first, you gotta go. I mean, none of them have good odds, but you want to go for at least something better odds. You go to a blackjack table. You go to the craps table. Mostly better odds than freaking roulette. Roulette though, you could get bigger.
Fucking Scott just saw something spinning, and he's like, "Ooh,
yeah,
I want to go
basically
there."
it. I mean, looking at his face, that's absolutely what he thought.
Yeah.
Wasn't a thought behind the mind besides, ooh, spinny. So then Leprechaun is back at the fucking place, the pawn shop, stealing Irish whiskey and gumbling all down, just like he did to Mike's Irish whiskey. And so then he says, so the pawn shop owner's like, I'll trade you. I want half your gold and I'll give you this medallion. He's like, I don't know about that. And so the leprechaun just uses telekinesis and gets a fishing rod that's hanging up to steal the medallion, and he tries to fucking kill.
With the medallion?
No, the medallion's out of the picture now. It's
Oh,
up in,
okay.
the rafters.
Okay,
The
got it.
leprechaun's
I was like,
I'm
he can't
gonna
touch
go-
the medallion.
No, he's like, I'm gonna go fucking kill this guy.
Right.
But fishing rod can.
Right.
So we cut back to Scott. He's lost all his money, but also the casino is literally cheating. Like there's a button Loretta pushes at the bottom to stop the roulette wheel so that it drains him of all his
I love
cash.
how like this is like, I mean, obviously they have to make their own casino, right? Because they can't actually shoot this in a real casino and go like every casino is gonna like steal money from
Yeah,
you,
right.
you know? But it's like, even if they did, this is like a straight to video, like, you know, sequel of the Leprechaun movies. No one would care, you know?
Yeah, exactly,
Like
right?
nobody in Vegas is
MGM's
like,
not gonna be like, I can't believe the Leprechaun movie like
the city
besmirched our
of
good name.
Las Vegas is not watching this movie going like, we can't put this out because people are gonna get a bad idea of what happens in Vegas. You
exactly.
know? They don't give a shit.
No, they don't care.
Yeah.
So then the cut to the magic show. Fazio's doing it. Everyone's asleep or old. He fucks up a basic magic trick of Tammy teleported between two boxes, and she's just like, or he's like, what happened? And she's like, the fucking back, the door was stuck, you dumbass. It's all your fault. He's like, hey, shut up. Anyway, Loretta keeps telling him to bet more, the kid to bet more, Scott, and he's just like, I don't have any more. He's like, well, you got a nice watch. You can go to the pawn shop across the street and sell it.
Oh, there we go.
And this is where it connects. So he's like, all right, I'll do that. So he goes across the street and he finds the shop is all messed up and the dude is dead. He's dead there.
Yeah.
And
Scott doesn't notice.
yeah, he's just like, oh my God.
He's sleeping.
Yeah. Also, the leprechaun was like looking for the shilling and he couldn't find it. But so he went hiding when Scott showed up. And it's funny because the leprechaun kills this is before. The leprechaun kills the dude, kills the shop owner.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, what was I thinking? Now I don't know where my shilling is. Which is funny because
bloodlust is taking
so
over.
I feel
his
like
logic.
we're getting dumber leprechauns. Because like the past leprechauns and like knew they're like, we can't kill him, we just got to torture him.
Right. These guys, as the
This
movies
guy's
get
just like,
worse.
he's like, well, oops, I'm just gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
So
We're all different. You know, there's dumb people, there's smart people.
Scott finds the dead body, and the first thing he says is, I thought I had problems. So he calls the cops, and they're like, all right, we'll come over there and check it out. But
dead
then
pawn shop owner.
he bumps into the encyclopedia thing, and it starts playing more Leprechaun lore. And he finds the gold shilling, which is on the computer, and he is like, oh, cool.
It was on the computer the whole time?
Yeah, it was on the computer the whole time, which the Leprechaun was like next to, and I don't know why he couldn't see it.
Can he smell?
I don't know. Also,
He could smell one of the shillings in the safe.
I don't know. The encyclopedia also says,
Why are you trying to poke holes in my movie, son?
that's what Mike does. You got to get used to it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go back to fucking his whiskey then.
Oh, he's still going. I did not know. He's a
this
fertile,
guy,
fertile little man.
He's been reading a lot of comic books. That guy.
So then, it's weird because it starts playing and says that like leprechauns get their power from the gold, which I don't think we've established in the past. I think that's a new one.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was like he got more powerful the more gold he had.
Oh, I thought that was just because he was sleeping, like he was just waking up.
Oh, maybe that was it.
But maybe that could be a combination of the two. Anyway, so Scott grabs the gold, like, any wish? I wish I was back at the casino on a winning streak. And then boom, he's back in the casino on a winning streak.
On a winning streak.
He's winning so much money.
That's fucking idiot.
It's kind of interesting the way they do it because like they can't just obviously have him win every time. So what it does is it like predict like he puts the coins down, the chips on the table on what he wants to bet, and then he puts the coin on top, and then the coin like directs him to where to put it.
Oh.
And then that wins. It's very weird.
Interesting.
The leprechaun now is like, oh, I have to go outside to find me shilling. So he just starts running around Vegas, making all sorts of puns, making some good rhymes about everything.
Lovely golden palaces, completely full of riches. I'll rip 'em off and rob 'em blind, those dirty sons of bitches.
How much is he rhyming in this movie?
More than the other ones, but not as much as I want.
Yeah. He rhymes a lot in my half of the movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think most of my movie is him rhyming.
Good.
So
That's the way it should be. So Scott's winning too much, and Loretta's getting in trouble now. Mitch comes over, the boss, and is like, "Why you keep losing money?" He's like, "I don't know, something's happening." And she's like, presses the button to stop, and the little like device breaks.
Doesn't work. Yeah,
malfunctions. Anyway, so he wins a whole bunch, and they're like, "All right, well, I'm Mitch. I'm gonna tell you to get off the table for a bit, take a break. This table's closed for a little bit." And he goes and approaches him. And is like, "Hey, why don't you stay here, bud? Stay here at the casino." He's like,
"Oh yeah,
okay,
like a
I'll do that."
room. Yeah,
like have a room. Like all big winners get that.
Right.
So let's see. Leprechaun runs around, sees the gold nugget, having a great old time. Okay. Tammy finds Scott and is like, "Scott, what the hell's going on? Why do you have all that money?" He's like, "Look, I won all this money." He's like, "I told you not to gamble."
But he won.
It doesn't matter. Don't gamble.
Yeah.
Also, I found a dead guy at the pawn shop. She's like, "What?" And then she's just like, I feel so bad for her because she's just like, I just found this guy, let him in the casino, and now he's finding dead bodies. He's gambling underage.
She's like, I need to cut ties with this fucking guy.
She literally says like, "Okay, look, cash your chips and go home."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I want to be with you. I think I want to share this money with you." And she's like, "Okay, well, fine, whatever. If you're gonna stay at the hotel, I'll be up in a bit. I gotta do my show, and then I'll come up and see you." And he's like, "Okay." The leprechaun goes in front of a topless club, and he looks, and he's like, maybe next time.
Man's got his priorities.
He's just running around.
Yeah.
He finds the Lucky Shamrock and what we saw, which is the name of the casino. And he meets Elvis is appearing there. He does a little Elvis accent. And
Does he do like a dress up like Elvis with like the
No,
sunglasses?
he just points. He points like Elvis.
Okay,
And he says,
okay.
"Hey man, see you on the flip side." And he goes, "Vegas, my kind of town." I'm like, why the fuck does he like Elvis? This man has like been a rock for who knows how long.
But he knows taste. He's got good taste.
I guess so.
You know?
Even if you're living under a rock, you've heard of
you
Vegas.
know
You've heard
of
Elvis.
the king.
You know the king, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
So weird. Fazio does a trick, and the leprechaun sees him do that, and he's like, "This is some bullshit." And he does like a trick, and then he literally puts leprechaun poop in Fazio's hand. And he's like, "What the fuck? How did I do that?" And the person who's doing the trick for is like, "Ew, gross."
Yeah.
I just like that the leprechaun's just like fucking with people now.
Yeah,
Like, this
yeah.
guy-
He's doing the shit from the first movie where he's like not trying to kill anybody.
No,
he's
he's
just
just being
causing
an
mischief.
asshole.
Like that guy didn't even have a shilling. He's just fucking with him.
Yeah, he's just fucking with them.
Yeah.
So then Loretta's like, "Hey, so I know that this guy, Scott, has like a room. You want to steal his money with Fazio?" Fazio's like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's steal his money. Also, there's a nice coin in there. I want you to steal it for me too." And he's like, "All right, I'll do that." So the Leprechaun is now just gambling. He's playing craps and using psychic powers to win. And the bodyguard's like, you can't be standing on the table like that, sir, because he's sitting on the craps table.
Right, because he's tiny.
And he's like, oh, yeah? And then he says, have a coin. He puts a coin in his mouth, and he pulls his ear, and a bunch of coins come out of the bodyguard's mouth.
Oh, my God.
And he's just like, and the bodyguard's like, what the fuck? He runs away.
That man found God that day.
Pretty much. So Scott's there having a good time in his hotel room. He's taking a shower, and then Fazio breaks in and steals his gold coin. Couldn't find any money. And it's great because Scott confronts like, hey man, what are you doing? And Fazio's like, basically does pocket sand, but he throws a little smoke bomb on the ground and then runs off. I'm like, wow, that's very impressive. But I'm like, also he got caught, so he knows exactly who did it.
Right. And he's like the magician at the the casino.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Leprechaun, he left the door open, so Leprechaun appears to Scott. And he starts attacking Scott and asks, where's me shilling? He's like, fucking that guy took it. He's like, But he bites him on the arm.
Yes.
And then Scott stabs him in the face or something, and his blood drops into Scott's open wound. And it fizzles there.
Yeah.
He put some vinegar and baking soda together.
Right.
And,
what could that mean?
I don't know. I do know.
Oh, you do know?
I do know what happened. I have a very educated guess as to what happens. So then the Leprechaun gets thrown off the window.
Yeah.
Leprechaun still has a knife in his head. He pulls it out. He's like, next time I'm taking the elevator.
This Leprechaun is ridiculous.
just weird shit.
I should have taken the left turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, it's like, all right, buddy.
Yeah.
So Scott's looking in the mirror and he sees himself flashing to become a leprechaun. He has little leprechaun ears. I'm like, oh my God. And so I didn't mention this earlier, but in the encyclopedia article, it was just playing in the background while the pawn shop guy was doing something.
Right.
And one of them said leprechauns are very territorial and they will fight each other if they are encroaching on each other's space. And I'm like, okay, why do we need to know that?
Is there going to be another leprechaun in the movie?
Now I'm starting to know. Maybe there might be another leprechaun in the movie. Also, this is how leprechauns are made?
This should have been called Leprechaun 2 because there's two leprechauns.
Two leprechauns. No,
yeah.
They unfortunately blew the budget on that. So.
Yeah, maybe there's a third leprechaun. Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? So Loretta gets the coin. Is like, oh, awesome, thank you. But where's the rest of the money? And he's like, I couldn't get it. Anyway, give me that coin. And he's like, I want it, but look, it could tell you how to win, and it doesn't work for her because obviously she's not the one who has the blessing.
Yeah, exactly. The blessing.
The blessing of the leprechaun.
Yeah, that's
everything I give is a blessing. You know what I'm saying? I blessed that whiskey, if you know what I mean. All right.
All right, Mr. Leprechaun. Go back to the corner.
You really were dropping some good notes before, and I just want to talk about how you're jacking off. All right? This is not what the Other Half podcast is about. This is what I'm making it about.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's about.
I've listened to your episodes, me dearies.
Yeah, you guys talk a lot about jerking off.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go back to my corner and do the deed. You're just finding new words to do it. Okay. So then Loretta, let's see, what does Loretta do? Okay, yeah, tries the coin. Boss comes to yell at Fazio, get back to work, and the boss tries to steal the gold coin because he's like, that must
from
be
Loretta.
From Loretta, and that's my half of the movie.
And so he steals the gold coin, and then they start talking. I don't know what they're fucking. I don't know who these people are. I don't know if they're the protagonists. I don't know about the coin. And they start talking about he's like, you're ugly, Tammy. And Tammy's like, or sorry, not Tammy, Loretta. And Loretta's like, well, you're no spring chicken, Mitch. And he's like, I could have any girl in here. I could even have Tammy. And Loretta's like, yeah, you wish. And he's like, yeah, I do wish. And suddenly Tammy is under the power of the coin, and immediately goes over to Mitch and starts just fawning over him and wanting to fuck him real bad.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I don't know why I keep getting the parts with the movie's really unkind to the women.
a little dicey here.
Yeah.
A little dicey here.
So, yeah. And it's at that point when Loretta starts to figure out what's going on, that the coin has magical powers. It's whether you wish on something, not necessarily gives you
Which is funny. She's like, obviously this is some magic.
She knows it's magic, but doesn't know how it works.
Yeah.
So, Tammy's like, hey, Mitch, why don't we go to your place and we can fuck each other or whatever.
Does she say that?
Shit like that, basically. And Mitch is like, yeah, let's do it. So they get in an elevator together. And apparently Tammy really likes slapping people. She's really into slapping Mitch. So she just keeps fucking slapping him. And it's weird because I think the movie's going like, oh, it's funny because like Mitch wanted to just like have sex with Tammy, but now he has to like appease her
Now he
by
has to
getting
deal
like,
with, like,
hurt.
Yeah.
But knowing that, I mean, I don't know if you saw this coming, but Tammy and I don't know what's his name, the guy, the main Scott, they're going to wind up together. So this is also what Scott's going to probably have to,
yeah, that's true, huh?
deal with.
Scott needs a good slap in there.
Honestly, he does.
Scott feels like a guy. He'd be like, "Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I liked that.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, hit me more."
So yeah, she's just fucking slapping him. And she's like, "This is how I like my men," or whatever. And then we cut to, I say, Ace Ventura and Alan Rickman, and
let me tell you, Scott's perfect if you want to slap him around a bit.
So yeah, we come back to Ace Ventura and Alan Rickman. They just are chatting about like boxers and like socks. I don't know what.
I thought you meant like people who fight each other in socks.
No. Like their underwear basically.
Okay.
Just keep talking about their underwear. And they're like, "Where is that guy?" And I don't know what they're waiting for.
I think they're looking for Mitch.
They are waiting for Mitch. I realized later.
He's supposed to pay them back, and he's like, because he did say like, come back, meet me at like 1 a.m. or something like that, and I'll pay you.
This was so fucking confusing because I was like, well, I've got Mitch, I've got Tammy, I've got Loretta, I've got these two guys.
Those two guys barely make sense in my half of the movie.
It's so weird. It's so confusing. So then,
did you recognize Leprechaun?
Obviously, I knew who the Leprechaun was.
You can't forget a face like me.
I would never forget you, Leprechaun.
Oh, that's right. You're never going to forget you after I do the Irish whiskey.
I hadn't seen the Leprechaun
George
yet.
Mulligan. Oh my God.
I hadn't seen the Leprechaun yet in my half of the movie.
Yeah.
You know? So Mitch brings Tammy to his bedroom, and she like, this part was so funny. She like tosses him onto his bed. And then she like snaps her fingers and music starts playing in his room. And she starts like dancing and like stripping for him. And he's like, that's what I'm talking about, honey. And while he's distracted, the lady Loretta goes because she now knows what the coin does. So she goes to retrieve the coin, breaking into Mitch's room while he's distracted by Tammy, like stripping essentially, and takes the coin away from him and steals her coin back and runs off. And before she can completely strip, Tammy like snaps out of it and is like, "Oh my God, what was I doing?" And Mitch is like, "Come on, you tease, like let's fucking do this." And she's like, "Get off of me," and like pushes him off of her. And at this point, I don't know who Tammy is. I didn't know Tammy was like the protagonist of the movie,
basically,
essentially, the second protagonist.
Yeah.
I thought she was just like a nothing character.
I was gonna say the main protagonist, to be honest.
Honestly, yeah.
Fuck Scott.
Not anymore. I'm gonna say she kind of disappears after this.
That's a bummer.
Or becomes like a backseat to Scott's protagonist.
I guess Scott trying to resist turning into a leprechaun is
kind of a more important thing,
I guess.
But at the same time, so she's like, "I don't want to have sex with you, Mitch." And Mitch is like, "You're fired. You're never working this town again. I want you to be my headliner. And now because you're not putting out, you're teasing me. You're fired. You're never going to do anything here. You're never going to be the magician you always wanted to be."
Damn.
But here's the thing. I didn't know she wanted to be a magician. Spoilers, she never does magic in the second half of the movie at all.
Well,
which
she
sucks.
can't anymore. Mitch said
But I thought she was going to use it to like fool the leprechaun.
Yeah, that'd be
something,
cool.
You know?
I was kind of hoping that they would set that up.
No.
When I heard that she was a magician, I was like, oh man, they're really gonna have fun with this. Kind of bummer
Never.
they don't.
They never do. And yeah, so it really sucks. And so Tammy, what happens? She just like runs off. She's like, "I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore," and she runs away. And I'm like, okay, well, that's the end of her character. I thought she was just like a side character. And then we cut to, I wrote, some twink who got bit, I'm assuming by the leprechaun, and he wakes up and he's starving. He's so hungry.
Oh damn.
For potatoes.
Oh no. Well, potatoes are a great snack. They have all the nutrients you need. You can live off them, you know.
Yeah, if you you can, and you can also starve if you don't get them.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess that's the only thing he's craving. I mean, you could probably find an all-you-can-eat potato.
This is a
somewhere.
reference to the potato famine.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know, but like it's insulting.
Oh, Mike, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were finally like, oh my gosh, this is the insulting part after all those jokes you made earlier. About having the troubles.
I was watching this movie with my Irish wife,
and
she was like,
okay.
And she was like, "What in the fuck is going on? Like, why is this happening now?"
That's so funny.
Like, because we didn't know what was going on, and all of a sudden he's like starving for potatoes because he got bit by a leprechaun.
So you didn't know leprechaun bite part though.
I just assumed, but I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
You know. But then he starts eating fucking like potatoes, and then he goes to like a restaurant, and just gets like sweet potatoes and French fries and baked potatoes.
He's expanding his horizons.
All forms of potatoes. That's all he's eating. And then he starts speaking in limericks.
Limericks, huh?
And he starts, and eventually he starts like doing the accent, and then also rhyming eventually too. He starts speaking in a rhyme. We cut back to Mitch, I don't know why we get back to Mitch. And he's alone in his room. He's still licking his wounds after not,
Smashing.
Mm-hmm. And the leprechaun shows up behind the TV, and he makes this sexy girl appear on TV. And she goes, "Hey, Mitch, how's it going?" And he's like, "Who?
What the hell?"
Yeah, like, why are you saying my name?
Yeah,
What kind of
that's
weird
creepy.
programming is this? And then she crawls out of the TV.
Like The Ring?
Like The Ring, and he doesn't question that. He's
What
like,
the fuck?
He's like, this is great. Let's fucking,
I'm so horny.
let's fucking smash. We cut to Loretta, who tells Scott that Tammy is upset. Loretta tells Scott that Tammy went upstairs to with Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
Scott is upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
But we cut to Tammy, who is genuinely upset about what just happened upstairs. And she tells Scott, they run into each other basically because like she's coming downstairs. Scott's going to go upstairs to like confront Mitch or whatever. And they run into each other in between. And Tammy says like, he assaulted me, and she's like, this isn't the first time this has happened in this like city. Like, it's like a really fucked up place for women and all that stuff. And Scott's like, we're gonna put an end to this. I'm gonna go up there and give Mitch a piece of my mind.
Oh.
And Tammy's like, you don't have to do that, Scott. And he's like, no, I want to do it. Like he needs to learn he can't treat women this way.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
This is pretty great.
I thought he was like, he took me gold.
Honestly, not yet. Not yet.
yet.
He's getting there. So we cut back to the leprechaun, and while Mitch is getting like dry grinded on by the TV woman,
I think it's weird. I'm thinking about the potato thing again because the leprechaun has never been established as someone who eats potatoes.
No,
like ever.
that's
He doesn't
true.
want any
Yeah,
food.
he never does eat potatoes. I
No.
think it's just an Irish thing.
They
Right?
just were just like I don't know, making a funny thing that he can't stop eating. What would an Irish stereotype want to eat?
Potatoes.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. You never do see the.
No.
I never see the only thing I think the leprechaun eats is like gold.
He took a bite out of that guy's ear and said delicious
Does
Indian
he-
food. So I mean, I don't know.
Does he eat it, or does he like
I think
spit
he
it
eats
out?
He eats it.
I don't know. Well, there you go.
He bites and swallows.
He doesn't eat. Yeah. There you go.
I always swallow. Oh my god.
Yeah. And now he's gargling back that whiskey.
I'm just recycling. I'm being energy efficient.
Better in and out.
You people in these liberal cities love that. Whoa.
What the fuck? So you're for recycling, but you're against liberals.
I choose not to discuss anymore. Oh, God.
All right.
All right.
That sounds good to me.
Getting a little questionable, just like your movies.
Well, it gets even more questionable because the leprechaun is now doing multiple things. He's got TV woman grinding up against Mitch on the bed, and then the leprechaun shows up on TV in commercials as himself doing like weird accents or whatever, where he's basically like, give me money. I'm for the church, and you better give me money. It's like, it's fucking weird. It really feels like Warwick Davis was like, give me something fun to do, and it was like, all right, here you go. Let's have you do like, religious like commercial television or like those TV psychics that used to exist back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just that. It's like, what in the fuck? Why is he doing this? Like, why is the leprechaun doing this? It doesn't make any sense.
It's just a little crafty. Why'd he put shit in that guy's hand? I don't know. It's funny.
True. So then eventually the leprechaun reveals that the girl who crawled out of the TV is not a real girl.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's a robot.
It's a what?
It's a sex robot with boobs. It's a robot with boobs.
Why is it a robot?
I
guess
don't
that
know.
makes
No, it doesn't make
no,
sense.
it makes less sense.
It makes less. Why? No, it doesn't make any sense. And now it's just a sex robot with boobs, and it electrocutes Mitch and kills him
Awesome.
on the bed. So then Scott and Tammy bust in. They see the leprechaun, and they're like, "Whoa!" And then they run out.
Amazing.
And then Ace Ventura and Alec Rickman show up, and they're like, "Hey, Mitch, we want our money." Or whatever. And the leprechaun's like, "You want money?" And then leprechaun just murders these guys.
How?
He like fucking stabs them and bites them
Oh,
and
okay.
pulls their eyes out and shit. And he's talking in rhymes again. He's talking in rhymes now,
Oh, that's fun.
which is nice. So then Scott, as we now know, is turning into a leprechaun. And this, I feel, is the lowest point.
Really?
It feels like the lowest point of this actor's career. Like,
oh, yes. Okay.
he's doing
I
an
thought you meant the lowest
accent.
point
He's-
of the movie.
No, I don't know. This is a pretty bad point in the movie because it's also like both actors. I read a little bit. So the actor that plays Scott went on to become like a director.
Uh-huh.
He's actually directed like movies of note. He's actually like a pretty well-known, successful director.
Okay.
The lady who plays Tammy stopped acting after this movie.
She didn't do anything else.
I don't blame her.
Yeah.
But it's like this really feels like a moment where these two actors, because it's like just between these two actors now, and they're both probably like, "What are we doing? Like, what we went to acting school. We wanted to break into the like career, you know." What are we fucking?
What are we doing?
He's doing
here?
this ridiculous accent. She's in this very revealing outfit. Like she just had to fucking grind on this dude Mitch for like God knows how fucking long.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we fucking doing?
I do think
here?
about that whenever I watch like any movie that's like C tier, you know, like very budget.
Yeah.
You know it's not going anywhere. It's one of those things that ends up on like the back of like the very end of Pluto TV when you're out looking at all the movies they have to watch.
Yeah.
You know, like
I know people have to get their start somewhere, but this feels like where people get their end. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's horrific. And so yeah, at this point, Scott's turned into a leprechaun. Tammy's like, we gotta take you to a doctor, and I'm like, what are you gonna do in the doctor's office? But either way, so then they're like, I know what we're gonna do. Let's go to that pawn shop because that's
has an encyclopedia there.
We're gonna learn more about and this is where I learned that the encyclopedia exists. I'm like, what in the fuck? Why is there a fucking like flash video?
Yeah.
Like, why is fucking like the
incredible.
demented cartoon movie telling me about the leprechaun?
Ziggy Boogie Doog.
Exactly. Kamikaze watermelon. So then we come back to Loretta. I don't know why we should care about Loretta, but Loretta has the coin now. And she wishes. She's looking in the mirror and she's like, I want to be sexy. I want to be beautiful again.
She's going to turn to Tammy.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
I was like, oh, she's going to turn into like another actor.
Yeah.
No. Her wish is granted. And it's just the same actor, but she's wearing more revealing clothes.
Nice. She just had a glow up, you know?
But she looks worse.
Oh.
She has this awful haircut. She's wearing like terrible makeup. I think it's like she's supposed to look sexy for like the time that the movie came out. But I'm like, honestly, girl, you looked fine before.
Yeah.
Like you weren't that bad looking. Now she looks like Carol Burnett. Like,
oh man,
it's rough. And she's walking around. To me, it's almost like it almost feels like a self-love. Like it's like she thinks she looks hot, so like that's all that matters. But like
probably,
I'm like, this is not a glow up. I think you went in the opposite direction. And she goes to the magician and she's like, look, I can be your sidekick now. Yeah, your assistant.
Why the fuck you'd want to be as a sidekick?
Why would
She doesn't
you?
even seem like she likes
I
him.
know. And then she shows him the coin and he's like, oh, a magic coin. And he takes it from her.
Oh well, there you go.
And he wishes to be the greatest magician ever,
Oh,
which is what an awful wish. Because even if you were the greatest magician ever, everyone's still gonna think you're faking your magic.
Yeah, that's very true.
Everyone's gonna still think you're.
I would say I want to be like a wizard with real magic, you know, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Because then you can just do whatever, and you can have real fucking magic.
Again, this is real like Jafar vibes, right?
Yeah.
So then the leprechaun shows up. In Loretta's like dressing room or whatever, and he's like, oh, you want to be young, eh? So and so he's like he says,
now that was quite a load to have to explode. What a lovely lass. I had to blow up your ass, but now I must hit the road.
Oh.
So
okay.
Yeah, and I know that this was spoiled for you because we have a mutual friend, Honeybees, who told me that they told you about a scene that affected them, and this is the scene that they were talking about.
Oh, yes.
So Loretta's standing there, and all of a sudden her boobs start growing really big, and then her ass starts growing really big, and then her lips start growing really big.
Oh, man.
And they just expand and expand and expand.
Keep talking about this, Mike. Keep explaining. What else expands?
Oh no, you had the leprechaun are enjoying this a little too much. She explodes.
Hand me that whiskey over there. All right. She explodes.
She explodes just as you're
We're
about
cut
to.
the podcast off. Oh boy.
And she's now dead. And so then we cut to the back to the pawn shop, and they learn that the only way to kill a leprechaun. What do you think is the only way to kill a leprechaun? It's different from the previous movie. So the 4-leaf clover. Not the way to kill a leprechaun anymore. What was the other way in the second movie?
Raw iron.
Raw iron, not the way to kill a leprechaun anymore. How do you kill a leprechaun in this movie?
With this jewel, this the necklace. Could use the necklace.
Nope. That's a really good guess.
This leprechaun, you gotta feed him his own gold.
That is such a good one.
Okay. What is
but
it?
here's what it is.
Oh no.
And it makes no sense. Here's how you kill a leprechaun. You need to destroy his gold. How do you destroy gold? It's like an element. Like
You can melt. You could destroy it. It's just
if
fucking
you melt
hard.
the gold, it's still gold.
You can just keep melting it. I'm pretty sure it just disintegrates after a while.
Oh, does it?
I think.
I don't know. I think if you just melt gold, it's still just
I think
melted gold.
I mean, I feel like if you light, this is science. I feel like if you turn enough of an element into itself, it's gonna turn into another element if you keep superheating it
Maybe.
or something. But yeah, I mean, it's very.
But even
it
if
sounds
you
very
did,
hard to
even
do.
if you did,
Yeah.
how would you
Yeah, how are you
heat?
gonna find
How would
that?
you heat the gold enough to
You have to
disintegrate
like
it?
throw it into a volcano. And
Right,
hope
you
it,
need to
like,
throw it in a volcano in the middle of Vegas.
Yeah.
Where are you going to fucking? What's that one that has like the active volcano in front of the casino? You know, the one that has like the
Treasure
pirates.
Island.
Treasure Island. You're gonna go
Yeah.
to Treasure Island, toss it in the volcano there? No.
There you go.
So no. But that's how you kill the leprechaun: is you destroy its gold. So Scott and Tammy are looking around the pawn shop trying to find his gold, and Scott can smell the gold in the safe.
Oh,
And
of course he can.
He uses his leprechaun magic powers to open the safe, and he's starting to lose control. So he's like, this is me. This is my gold now. I own the gold now. And Tammy's like, Scott, no, we have to destroy the gold. And he's like, no, it's mine. It's mine. And then Tammy slaps Scott to wake him up. Scott's like, what happened? Where was I? And then the leprechaun shows up, and him and Tammy and Scott fight each other.
Okay.
The three of them fight each other. And there's one part where Tammy picks up a baseball and like fucking hurls it at the leprechaun and like kind of mortally wounds him.
Oh my
But
God.
just throwing shit at him. And then she says, yeah, I always wanted to be a baseball player. And I'm like, wait,
You wanted to be
where
a
is that
magician.
coming? I thought you wanted to be a magician.
Maybe
yeah.
she was doing it as a joke.
It's
She's like, I was one.
I don't know anything
player.
at
Yeah,
this
I guess
point. I was
that's
like,
true.
maybe she did. So that almost kills the fucking leprechaun. And Tammy's like, all right, Scott, I'm finally going to take you to a hospital. So they go to the hospital, and the guy working at the doctor working in the hospital is like, we got to put him in isolation. So they like isolate him, like quarantine him basically.
Ah.
And they basically try to like exorcise the leprechaunness from him. So they run like tests on him, and oh my God. So they run these like tests on him, like EKGs and shit like that, and all the results come back looking like fucking like 4-leaf clovers and shit.
Oh my God. All his organs are turning into goofy things.
Yeah,
love
exactly. And then they're like, what the fuck is going on? These charts don't make any sense. And then they discover that Scott has all this money, and they're like, doctor, should we keep running all these expensive tests on him?
No.
Yeah,
Man, there is a lot. There's a line of healthcare jokes in here
It's
about how expensive
interesting.
the healthcare system is. The writer had a vendetta, just got a huge bill or
I
something.
think it's got a vendetta against a lot of shit. He hated he hated healthcare workers, he hated casinos, and he did not like Indian people. So so all that's happening. What happens? A leprechaun shows up in the morgue. I don't know why he's in the morgue, but he shows up in the morgue.
A leprechaun? Do you know which one? It's
The leprechaun.
Okay.
Sorry.
You said A. I was like, is there
The
another one?
leprechaun shows up
You
in the
said there
morgue.
might have been 3 leprechauns. I don't know.
No, there's only the 2 so far. Well, there's only the 1.5, I guess.
Yeah, 1.5.
So the leprechaun shows up in the morgue, and then Tammy goes to the morgue. I don't know why she goes to the morgue, but she does. And then the leprechaun's there, and the leprechaun killed a mortician.
Okay.
And
Sure.
yeah.
Why not?
And then the leprechaun ties Tammy down to the table.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, he threatens to cut up her face, which is, this is shit from like the last movie that I really fucking hate, is the thing of like tying women down and threatening to like
Hurt them? Yeah.
injure them for no reason. And he's gonna do that, but then
Gosh, he's a monster, bro.
I guess,
Because at this point, he's a funny little guy.
but then Scott shows up.
Uh-huh.
Scott he's escaped from captivity above with the doctors.
Being extracted from the healthcare system.
Yeah, exactly.
All he's worth getting a huge bill.
He goes to the morgue, and he's like, get away from her, leprechaun. And it's so funny because the leprechaun is like, give me my shilling. And he's like, I don't have your shilling. Fazio has it. And he's like, well then, I'm just going to dispatch the 2 of you before I get rid of the leprechaun. But here's the thing, is this dialogue is all being spoken in rhyme. Both Scott and Leprechaun are talking to each other
That sounds
in
really good.
rhyme.
That sounds pretty good.
It's crazy. And then Tammy, while they were at the pawn shop, by the way, Tammy took the amulet and and now is holding the amulet up to the leprechaun. And apparently the leprechauns don't like amulets. So the leprechaun pieces out, but
this
before
amulet's a special one. I don't know how.
I don't know how.
They literally never explain it.
They never explained it in my half either. So Tammy takes out the amulet, points at the leprechaun. Leprechaun's like, I'm out of here, and like runs off. But as he runs off, he fucking flips him off.
Yeah. Leprechaun loves flipping them off.
Which is
flipping people
great.
off.
And so then the Leprechaun shows up at Fazio's magic show.
Okay.
And Fazio's doing incredible magic. And now, because he became the greatest magician ever.
Yeah.
Right? So the audience there is not full of old people who are bored anymore. Now it's like hot young people or whatever. I don't know how they caught word that Fazio was a great magician now, but basically now people are showing up.
Finally hired a great graphic designer.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And so, but then the Leprechaun shows up and he starts ruining Fazio's illusions.
How?
I don't remember. I think Fazio puts like a woman in a box and he's about to like chop her in half, but then he switches. I think I don't remember. I don't fucking remember. Either way, Fazio winds up in the box.
Sounds pretty bad.
Fazio winds up in the box of the woman that's gonna get cut in half. Okay,
that sounds kind of cool.
and then the Leprechaun is standing on the box and he pulls out a fucking chainsaw. And he's going to fucking chainsaw Fazio in half in front of the entire audience.
Nice.
And the audience is fucking cheering for it. They're like, hell
that
yeah.
sounds awesome.
Kill this guy.
Well, I mean, I think it's a trick, right?
They probably
So
think
it's
it's a
really
trick. So,
it's March. They're like, cool.
but then they
Leprechaun
start
guy.
realizing it's not a trick. Because then Fazio starts screaming and bloody murder and blood starts getting everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the Leprechaun starts using his magic powers to like cause havoc to the fleeing audience, like launching people in the air and like pushing like tables around and shit. It's crazy.
That's dope.
And then Scott shows up with Tammy. They show up there because they hear all the havoc that's occurring.
Mm-hmm.
And they show up. And God, this part was so stupid. So everyone's left at this point.
Yeah.
And Scott's like on stage. Leprechaun's also on stage. Tammy's also there.
Mm-hmm.
And Leprechaun's like, oh, come on, me boy. Come over to the green side. And then you hear like Star Wars music start playing.
Oh, what?
Because it's like come to the dark side.
Okay, sure.
And then Scott, out of nowhere from me, pulls out a flamethrower. And I'm like, where in the fuck
Oh, yeah.
did he get a flamethrower
It was
from? Now I
established,
know.
yeah.
Now I know. And he's about to burn the Leprechaun. He's like, come on, don't burn me. We're both leprechauns. This ain't cool. And then he's like, no, I'm not going to burn you.
What does Scott look like at this point?
He looks sort of like if a werewolf was a redhead. I think that's the best way of describing it. Because it's
Okay.
like he's starting to get hairy.
I like that.
His face is starting to turn into like a leprechaun face with all
Oh, it's always a hard time going through leprechaun puberty.
yeah, that's what it
It's
looks
always
like.
a tough time. You get made up fun of a lot.
You think I'm fucking a lot of whiskey bottles right now during puberty. It was
Oh.
way worse.
Me gold wasn't just the hardest thing there. You know what I'm saying?
All right, get back over
Oh,
there.
God.
So he points the flamethrower at the pot of gold.
Oh.
And he burns the pot of gold. And that flamethrower is enough to destroy the gold.
Okay, that I definitely don't buy.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
I definitely don't buy.
And the leprechaun catches on fire
Okay.
because this gold's on fire. And this part was actually pretty funny.
Well, maybe it's not even. Maybe he doesn't need to destroy the element of gold. He needs to destroy the coins that are gold, and it destroy.
It's made of the element gold. What are you talking about?
It's not magical anymore when it's not like a gold
A
coin.
gold piece. Yeah.
So
Once
I
it's
think
melted gold,
Once
then
it's melted gold, he doesn't give a fuck.
it
Like that
doesn't
shit
matter.
belongs in the treasury. He doesn't care about that.
Yeah, that's
He's not
true.
running around breaking into that.
He's not.
Although he did say he wanted a golden nugget, so I don't know.
Yeah, see, and he's also stealing golden teeth and shit all the
That's
time.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he's just
well.
gold in general.
That's what I would think, but whatever.
What-
This is a different leprechaun.
Different leprechaun, and this leprechaun catches on fire and then starts flying through the air. It's clearly like a little person that they like.
The little on fire? The little man on fire?
A little person on fire, and like they have him hanging from a wire.
Oh no!
So it's just like a little person on fire, kicking,
Hey,
and
man.
screaming.
You gotta have
It's like,
stunned
what are we-
people.
It's like I'm not laughing at the fact that they like hurt a little person. I'm laughing at the fact like what are we doing
What
here?
is this?
Like what is this? Like what? Why? Why did we do this?
Hey
But
man, could have been CGI.
definitely
It could
couldn't
have been CG.
I
Could have
think
been
this is
CG.
too early for CG.
No, I know what I'm saying. Like nowadays.
Oh,
maybe
now
this-
it would've been a
could have
CG
some
leprechaun, that's
leprechaun on
Yeah, that's
fire,
true.
flying around.
So they kill the leprechaun.
I appreciate the art.
Yeah, and then Scott turns back to normal because the leprechaun's dead.
Oh, that doesn't make sense. Unless it's like a vampire.
Well, the leprechaun obviously it's like a vampire thing.
Okay, yeah, it has to be like a vampire thing.
Yeah, it's obviously like a vampire thing.
Oh, obviously like a vampire thing. What do you mean it's obviously like a vampire thing?
How else is it?
It could be like a werewolf thing. Werewolves don't need to have like a master or whatever to like.
I guess
transform.
not. Huh?
And
I
you
mean,
kinda,
sometimes if you kill the original werewolf, that's good
I
enough.
don't know. Why don't we go back to the Underworld movies? Let's drag those up here. Another watch till you can't.
That's a fair point. So then Tammy and Scott leave the casino together. And Tammy's still wearing that really revealing outfit. And Scott's not. And Tammy's like, hey, look what I found. 1 shilling. We still have 1 gold shilling left. And she's like, we can wish for anything that we want. And then Tammy says, but we already have everything that we want. We have each other.
Aww.
And so then she throws...
Super unearned, but
She throws the shilling away and they walk off and the credits start rolling.
Aw, damn.
And that is the end of Leprechaun 3.
These movies have like the most... Like the ending is just like, oh, he's dead.
What else are you going to do?
Bye. Yeah.
But what's so upsetting is you're right. Because like from what I hear, Tammy was a really cool, strong character at the beginning of this movie.
She seemed cool. I really liked her.
And they completely fucking like knocked her legs out from under her at the second half. Like she basically becomes like a mindless bimbo for like the first half of my half of the movie. And the second half, understandably, she's like shaken by the fact that her boss like came onto her and like assaulted her. And then the rest of the movie, she's like this screaming, like, damsel in distress. It's like, what the fuck happened to this cool, like powerful woman who like wanted something and wanted to get it,
Yeah.
It's fucked
she had
up.
to wait for a little half leprechaun boyfriend to help her.
I guess so.
I
was wondering if Scott was going to turn short at some point or if he was going to stay the same size that he was.
Yeah, I wonder, that must be the final transformation, right?
Yeah.
Like
if he gets tiny.
He gets tiny. Or maybe he's the first tall leprechaun. He could have been the first one.
The first tall leprechaun. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but that had to have existed before, right?
Yeah, just Ed Sheeran,
Ed Sheeran is definitely a leprechaun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Leprechaun, is Ed Sheeran one of you?
Oh, absolutely. Look at him.
That's why he sucks so much.
That's why he's in Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's why he's in Game. How many leprechauns
you
are
think
in Game
because
of
he could
Thrones?
sing? Have you heard that man sing?
Are there a lot of leprechauns in Game of Thrones?
No. Not this time.
Okay, just Ed Sheeran.
Just Ed Sheeran.
Okay.
They wanted to mix it up. They wanted to show a little bit. I was writing to them for a long time. What do they go? D&D, I think is what they're called. Those fuckers who ruined my show.
They ruined
I
your
wanted
show?
a leprechaun, and they get fucking Ed Sheeran.
What do you mean they ruined your show? Like you were writing.
Have you seen the last season of Game of Thrones?
No. You're acting like they ruined your show. Like you had something to do with the first couple seasons of them.
George R.R. Martin
is a leprechaun.
Let's just say we've had some communications. Why do you think it's taken so long for them to put out that new book?
Why?
He found whiskey bottles. Let me tell you. Very
he's
special.
fucking those whiskey bottles, eh?
Oh, he's not fucking those whiskey bottles.
Leprechaun, you're fucking the whiskey bottles.
Let me tell you, they got a little special ingredient there. It changes.
Oh,
it changes the elements. It makes it a little kick you can't get anywhere else. But let me tell you, it means you're real inebriated.
Okay.
Copies are hard to write. But boy, oh boy, he loves tweeting about his sports.
Is that a big thing that
Have you not seen his blogs?
I don't. I don't follow him on Twitter.
I'm going to leave. This is insulting.
Okay,
All
well,
right.
guys, do you guys fuck whiskey bottles? Email us. Email the other podcast.com. Let us know. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on Discord, on Threads. You can also find our previous Leprechaun episodes on any podcatching app. If you loved our Leprechaun guest, he's on every single episode so far. You can find him on any podcatching
Mike
app.
looks like, I can't wait for this guy to fucking leave.
He's not gonna.
He's not
He'll
gonna
be in every
leave.
episode.
He's gonna leave.
You find him on any podcatching app. And while you're there, please leave a 5-star rating and review. We'll read it in the show no matter what it says. Even if you are a leprechaun leaving a review, we'll read it. And we'll read it. And we'll have the leprechaun read it for us.
I don't know. You want to do that? I always read anything. You're right. Anything. Unlike George R. R. Martin. I won't read any of his shite anymore.
He's not producing any shit anymore.
That's also true. That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Well, so we got one more episode, and then we got to decide if we watched it or can't. So
Yeah.
this episode, we're moving into the next one, which is Leprechaun 4.
In space! Good night, everybody.